glad you are here today. And so today's title of our lesson is I Don't Like That Idea. So this weekend, the grandbabies came and, Friday night they spent the night. Matthew's 6 and Aubrey is almost 3. And, so they spent the night. I have this big king-size bed, so we all just pile in. Well, except for my husband. He has to find somewhere else. So we all pile in the bed, and on Saturday morning, the plan was, my husband and his brother were already up and outside and building a greenhouse, and so the plan was for, the kids and I, we would get up and get breakfast and get outside because it was such a pretty weekend. And so Matthew woke up first, and our little sleeping beauty was still asleep. So I told Matthew that I'm gonna go head up and get up and start getting breakfast going so that it would be ready when she woke up so we could get on with, the events of playing outside. So I told him I would get up and go on and start getting breakfast started. But I wanted him to stay in the bedroom with Aubrey so that she didn't wake up and get scared if she was by herself. And Matthew said, I don't like that idea. I said, well, why don't you like that idea? And he said, I don't want to be that far away from you. So, I don't live in a sprawling mansion. I wasn't going to be that far away from him. But I guess to him, even a little bit of distance was too far. It was too far for him to be comfortable with me not being close to him. So we did. We kind of compromised. I said, I'll just keep coming and checking on you and making sure everything's okay. So that's what we did. But later on, as I started studying and thinking about that some more, I thought, isn't that how we should be with God? That any distance, even if it's just a small distance away from God, even if it's just a little, it's still too far. And no matter what the distance is, and like Matthew said, I don't like that idea that we can get away from God, and it may be, in our eyes, a small distance, it may be a big distance, but any distance is too far. In Psalm 139, verses 1 through 12, it says, O Lord, thou searchest me and know me. Thou knowest my down sitting and mine uprising. Thou understandest my thought afar off. Thou compassest me about, thou compassest my path and my lying down, and art acquainted with all my ways. For there is not a word on my tongue, but lo, O Lord, thou knowest it altogether. Thou hast beset me behind and before, and laid thine hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is high, I cannot attain to it. Whither shall I go from thy spirit, or whither shall I flee from thy presence? If I ascend up into heaven, thou art there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, thou art there. If I take the wings of the morning, and dwell in the utmost parts of the sea, even there shall thy hand lead me, and thy right hand shall hold me. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, even the night shall be light about me. Yea, the darkness hideth not from thee, but the night shineth as the day. The darkness and the light are both alike to thee. So, this tells us God knows our every thought. He knows our every word. He knows our every mistake, our every secret. He knows it all. If anyone knows anything about us, He knows it all. And there's no hiding place from Him. We're in His presence. And I think sometimes we think maybe we can hide from God. And maybe sometimes we think just a little bit of sin won't hurt. A little bit of sin won't drive us that far away from God. But let's just say, what if I gave you a cupcake and I said, oh, but I dropped that one in the mud, but it's okay because I cleaned it off. Would that little bit of mud make a difference in how you felt about eating that cupcake? I mean, I cleaned it off. I got the mud off, mostly. I mean, a little bit of dirt won't hurt, right? I mean, would it make a difference to you if you had a clean cupcake or a little bit of a dirty cupcake? I can tell you I wouldn't be eating it. No, thank you. I'm not going to eat a cupcake that has been dropped in the mud, even if you tried to clean it off. So, thinking about that cupcake, I mean, even so, if a little bit of mud is going to deter us from eating that cupcake, shouldn't a little bit of sin, shouldn't that deter us from wanting to go down that path, wanting to go down that road? Because just a little bit won't hurt. Even, even just a little bit of sin separates us from God. It drives us down a path that's not where we need to be. That's not where we need to go. So anything, even if it's what we think is just a little bit, is something that still drives us too far away from God. So no matter how far away, it's still too far. And in Isaiah 53, 5 and 6, it says, "But he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities, and the chastisement of peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. All we like sheep have gone astray, we have turned every one to his own way, and the Lord hath laid on him the iniquity of us all." That's something that should motivate us to think differently, to think differently about how we live. Knowing that God is ever present in our lives should motivate us to think, speak, and behave in a way that would glorify God. Knowing that God took on all of our sin, all of our guilt, all of our shame, should motivate us and encourage us to want to live our lives for Him. It should be a good reminder that we should seek Him daily and continue to grow in our relationship with Him. Growing that relationship with Him and staying close to Him instead of wandering here and there. We should still want to have that closeness so that we're not tempted to stray even a little bit, to cause any kind of separation between us and God. Distance from God is still distance, no matter how far, or no matter how far we think that it is. Because to Him it's still big. Just like Matthew thought me being just down the hall in the kitchen was too far away for his comfort. Any distance away from God is too far. So I hope that you can think on these things today, that you can think about, do I do that? Do I let little bits of sin creep in here and there and think, well, it's okay, it doesn't hurt anything. Think about that cupcake. Think about that cupcake that has that little bit of mud on it, and we're sure not going to eat it or we're not going to touch it. So that little bit of sin that creeps into our hearts and into our lives can create a distance from God that we're not comfortable with, that we're, like Matthew, we don't like that idea. So I hope that you have a great week, and until next time, I'll see you later. Thanks, guys.